Hi, my name is Milena, and I like to speak with you about the importance of getting a lot more people on board for ill and handicapped people who are educated. I've been handicapped now for 15 years myself, and the times that I'm seeing in municipalities, but also with a lot of the different handicapped organizations, that there's a huge lack of people who can help on a more advanced level is enormous. And this is very frustrating because the governments really have a responsibility towards handicapped people and also ill people to provide them also, people who have the capacity to really give them the support they need. You see that there's quite a bit, let's say, for simple tasks. With that, I mean, people that come and clean in your house or go and do a little shopping for you or maybe drive you somewhere to a hospital. That you do have, that whole layer. Perhaps not even enough, but that layer at least is existent. What is totally non existent, and I speak about experience of 15 years and knocking on doors of, I think, at least 80 to 120 organizations, is there is a total lack of people who can help the handicapped with their administrative tasks, with advising them also with legal matters, which are very important because after you've had an accident, like in my case, you are, swimming in legal papers, things that you have to do for insurances. And I have missed so many opportunities just because there was no one out there who could help me after my stroke, after I had been in a wheelchair for many years, to just help me to deal with those important matters that had to be arranged for the insurance companies, for the lawyers, etc., etc. Now, in municipalities, they also give you people which are totally incapable to work on the computer, for instance. They don't know how to do internet banking. They don't know how to do scanning. They don't know how to make an Excel. They don't know how to do research and organize their research in, let's say, organized way so that people can find the information back. I am shocked. The word is shocked with the level which is so basic, as I mentioned before, that we don't seem to even be able to get over the simple little things of just cooking for someone, cleaning for someone, and maybe driving them to a hospital. Hey guys, we handicapped people also have other needs than just sitting behind a window like a plant and just, a kind of, feel totally neglected in some kind of a corner. We also have the right of a life. We have things to do. We have, let's say, legal cases to prepare, but we can't do it alone without help. We have things that need to be done for our administration. Sometimes our administration is multilingual. When I look at the different organizations where I asked for help, no one could work in a multilingual level. These were all people that could either speak only one language but not the other. Um, when I had people here and I would say, gosh, I need to send to my doctors my medical documents. Can we please scan this together? They wouldn't know how to do that. This is impossible. A lot of these people get a lot of money paid by the government, of 50, 60, 70 euros an hour. Hey, come on, guys. And then they're totally incapable of doing even the basics. This is not okay. I believe, we need a lot more control from those municipalities where the people really have what it takes. When you are, having to take care, let's say, of handicapped people or ill people, you have a certain responsibility because you're dealing with vulnerable people. And the whole idea is that you help those people further. In my case, we're now 15 years further. My court cases still have not been, helped with, to put all my papers scanned and nicely so that I can find them. I'm behind with payments. I'm behind with pretty much everything in my administrative life. And I spent more time to try and find help, you know, hours and hours per week. Then, when you have those people coming, you basically are every time a kind of disappointed. And this is because there is a huge layer which is lacking. There are not enough educated people in the whole taking care of systems for handicapped people. And people think, well, handicapped people, they just, if you do a bit of shopping for them, that's fine. No, we need also other things in our lives. I would have loved to do still something with my talents and my skills, because even though I'm handicapped, I feel I can still do things, but you need the help for that as well. At a certain point, I started organizing my own things because what I want doesn't exist. So I started to look in universities to find the people that I need that had the skill with the computers or were multilingual to help me as a handicapped person. Or I would start like now to make my own films to express myself and say, hey guys, even though I'm handicapped, even though I'm shuffled underneath the carpet, I still do exist, and there's nothing out there which is helping handicapped people which are more educated to get back on their level into society. Because there is this thing, employers, they're scared to take you back on board because they think, oh, well, this is an ill person or a handicapped person. So, there's always a bit this kind of, it's not like embracing people back to give them a second chance, which everybody deserves. It's always this resistance, being careful, you never know, etc., etc. This too, governments have the responsibility to make other conditions. So, my suggestions are first of all, make sure that in every handicapped organization you have at least one or two more educated people working there so that we're not only dealing with the basic level, but that we can go one or two or three levels up. And if I, for instance, just a little example, if I look at the municipality of Amersfoort, I got the first time a person who wasn't capable, to help me with my health insurance because she couldn't work with the computer. Then I got, Interact Contour, which was supposed to help me with some payments. The person comes here, he says, I've never made a payment in my life on the internet. And I'm like, wow, this is just shocking. You're getting 70 euros an hour? You're working for an association which is supposed to help people with brain injury like myself. I can't do it because I'm seeing double with one eye, so I can't do my internet banking. But supposedly those people that are costing, so much money should be able to at least do the basics. Guys, this is still for me, it's still the basics, working with the computer, making for someone a scan, making sure, that people can find things, making overviews in an Excel. I feel like I had to every time be exhausting myself to teach people who were being paid how to do things. Then they have to pay me rather than I exhaust myself. And probably this is why I also got cancer besides the radiation. I've done nothing but every time saying, guys, I need help. My mom is ill. My stepfather is ill. I'm taking care of them. It's too much for me. I need people to take over some tasks. Can someone please help? And then you get people who are totally incapable, who you have to start to train in your time and with your energy while you're already falling apart. Hey guys, is that fair? I don't think so. Then, you write to, the Amersfoort, let's say, municipality, and you say, this and this happened. I like to organize my own life because I'm perfectly capable to find people, to give them tasks. I've been a leader all my life, so give me then the chance to organize my own help because you can't do it. It's very clear. You're sending me every time people who can't even do the basics of the basics. So give me then a budget so that I can find my own people, organize my own life, as also here, it says in the law. This also then doesn't happen. You can write one letter, two letters. I think I wrote 30 letters. 30 letters without ever getting even a reply. This is just totally, totally disrespectful towards a handicapped person. Then, as if that's not enough, you start writing, to even higher up. You say to the director, let's say, of that, in this case, it's called Wijkteam here in Amersfoort. You say to the director of the Wijkteam that thing's wrong. I'm already 1 year asking for help for my mom and my stepdad. They both have cancer. They don't get any help. This is not right. They have that right. They're living here. And I'm, fighting for their rights. Because I can't keep doing everything which normally municipalities should be doing. I'm already 70% handicapped myself. And then you write, in writing you don't get an answer either. Even from those people, Mrs. Boscher is her name, who are supposed to see and have an overview. Okay, apparently we have been sending wrong people to this lady. So let's then get someone else who is capable to do certain of these tasks. So my mom, she missed everything. Her huursubsidie, her zorgsubsidie. We had an urgentieverklaring for another apartment for my mom because she was living in a condition which is not for an elderly lady of 74 who's heavily ill. So people lose your important documents. People don't take responsibility. Also, this is really not okay. Okay, so we saw that didn't work. So you go one step even further. So you start to write, to the wethouder Tichelaar, and burgemeester Bolsjes, to say there is something wrong. Already for a whole year I'm waving and saying, stepfather is dying of cancer, mother has cancer, I'm handicapped, I'm trying to help them, but it's too much for me. Can something be done? Can someone take responsibility? The very least for all the documents which people have lost in the Wijkteam. Here I'm filling in forms for urgentieverklaringen for my mom. They just get lost. People say, well, too bad, tough shit, What can we do about it? Well, you can do something about it. It's your responsibility, as a wethouder, as a burgemeester, as a director of the Wijkteam, when people make such a rotzooi, if we say, it in Dutch, if people make such a chaos out of their work and they have such a negligence, then obviously something has to be done about it. So now I have to go even one step further because I'm also not getting a reaction of the burgemeester and the wethouder. So we will go to the ombudsman and we will go to the press because these situations cannot be tolerated. It can't be that I have to get cancer because I'm standing, in a kind of a desert an entire year to say that I have a dying stepfather and a dying mother, and I myself am heavily ill with 70% being handicapped, and that I still, am trying to do what I can, holding 10 balls in the air for 2 ill people. And I'm the only one that can do it because there's no one else. There is the municipality, but they're not taking their responsibility. And it's not okay that an entire family has now to be dying of cancer because some people are too lazy to do their work or too negligent or just let things, as they say in Dutch, laat de boel gewoon maar de rotzooi aanrollen. So to translate this, just let things, go down the drain, and what do we care? This all is not okay. So again, it's about taking responsibility. I see so often that people die or they get in terrible situations because others don't take responsibility and are negligent. And I believe that the legal system has to make rules that if certain things like this happen, that we have to have much bigger penalties. As long as people know that they can get away with negligence, they will. That's one of the traits of this human species. And you see this everywhere with lawmaking, you know. If, let's say, we don't make laws about traffic lights that people will get a fine when they go through the red traffic light, nothing will happen. People will simply go through the red traffic light. You know, it's only when you make in the legal system and you impose penalties that things then will happen for the good of everyone. So there should be also a lot more penalties when people are negligent in municipalities and lives of others are at stake. Another point I want to make. In the municipalities, when you don't screen your people and there are people there who can really bring lives of others in danger, you have a responsibility. It's the same as asking, let's say, a stagiaire to do an operation on someone. We wouldn't tolerate it either, would we? That, let's say, someone in grade 1 operate someone, you know, when that has to be done, let's say, by a doctor, a professor, someone with a lot of experience. I see so many young people with no experience whatsoever and no any background to be capable to go into someone's life who is highly complex and then to decide what kind of help does this person need. I mean, I see totally incapable people who are not trained and don't have what it takes to see, okay, we're dealing with cancer of a stepfather, we're dealing with a mother which is multilingual, a doctor in physics, a highly intelligent woman, but also disabled. We're dealing with a daughter who is disabled, also someone who is highly intelligent, but okay, she can't cope with things by herself, but they need some help. Those people don't have what it takes to make that analysis. Okay, so then, you know, I believe that the governments have to rethink that they have given responsibility to the municipalities to, decide what kind of help ill people need or people under great strain, because it's clear that in many cases it does not work. I'm a typical case, and many others together with me, of people who are falling, as they say in Dutch, tussen wal en schip vallen. Meaning, you know, that you cannot be pushed in this category, you know, in that regeltjes and hokjes, which, you know, is one of the things that people always like to put you in this little, you know, little box. And if you somehow don't fit in that little box, well, tough shit for you. That's what it boils down to. That's also not okay. You know, Holland is a country of inclusion. We're fighting here for homo rights. We're fighting for transgender rights. Well, what about us? You know, people who are handicapped and educated and are always falling between the mazes. We have had it up to here. We want also inclusion for us, so that municipalities take, you know, their responsibility. Politicians also have to create a system that people have alternatives. If you see that it doesn't work with your municipality because they simply can't give you the help you need, why would people have to suffer, like in my case, and just bleed to death? Who has the right to make me bleed to death? You know, why aren't there alternatives out there? That, for instance, you know, governments create, let's make a special organization for those people who fall between the mazes, which cannot be pushed in those little boxes, because not everybody can be pushed into boxes. And that then something is being created whereby you have, let's say, at least 10 to 20 people who are highly educated and can see, okay, what does this person need? What does the family need? What does each individual need? And how can we provide for that? And how can we also help them to find their own way instead of imposing our lower qualified skilled workers that even make more of a mess than helping in any shape or form? It can't be so difficult. It's no rocket science. It's just using your brain and seeing, okay, what can be now developed for that whole group of people which does not fall in those categories which, let's say, municipalities can't deal with. And I ask myself if it has been a good decision. I personally don't think it is a good decision that right now the municipalities are deciding for lives of people because they don't have what it takes. They don't have the skills, the know-how. For instance, if I give them all these medical reports of my doctors who clearly say what needs to be done, they don't even read it. Normally, when you're dealing with handicapped people, ill people, or there's a whole vulnerable group of people, you need specialized people who look at that. People who can indeed see and read the medical reports and say, okay, if the doctor says 6 hours per day is needed for this, then who are we as municipality little workers to say, well, what do we care, what this doctor says, we are so much better. We think that just 1 or 2 hours should be enough, That's what we think. We have seen the people only one time, but that's what we think, and we are the municipality. So if we say 1 hour is enough a week of help, what do we care about what others say? And this is also not okay. And that these people can get away with that bullshit is also not okay. I remember last year sitting here in September and talking with the municipality people, Wijk team here. Guys, my mother and stepfather are both very, very ill. They're dying of cancer. We need something to be done. That's 1 year ago in September. Then we wrote a lot of things down. This needs to happen. And I then also made an application for my mom, an application for help. Nothing happened an entire year. This I really call scandalous. Scandalous. And this is one of the reasons why I now also have cancer, because that stress of every time writing and saying, someone is just going down the drain. Can you please do something? And nothing happens. That stress is devastating for anybody, let alone someone who already had a stroke last year like I had, who is already 70% handicapped, and who, is standing there in a kind of a desert trying to say, help, 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 help. And, only getting young, arrogant people with no experience who are just saying, oh, well, we were at a training. Oh, well, we were at a holiday. Oh, well, now I couldn't, reach you, when I was busy with my mom after she was very ill. Yeah, then, of course, voila. And so they make excuses. So they write in their report, oh, we couldn't reach you. So, yeah, what do you want us to do? Really? How very interesting. I mean, if they, write 30 letters on email, you can reach me, no? How interesting. You can't reach me? There is always the post box, isn't it? You can't reach me? You can leave something on my phone, isn't it? So, with cheap excuses, people try to walk away of their responsibilities on top of that. And all that, when I say to the burgemeester and to the wethouder, please look into the mess which has been created on your work floor. Are you even aware of the mess which is sometimes going on your work floor? Take my example and that of my mother and my stepfather, like a good example. My stepfather is dying of cancer and he, had to wait 5 years to get 2 hours, 2 bloody little hours, of cleaning, just cleaning. You know, that's all that people can think of in municipality. Cleaning. Who cares about cleaning? When you have your bills that need to be paid, when you have, to communicate with hospitals, documents have to be scanned. Cleaning, is nice, but it's just one tiny, tiny little thing of, a huge amount of things which needs to be done, which is way more serious. Because if bills don't get paid, then you get into real trouble, etc., etc. And so I'm going to round off, because I'm tired, that this has got to change. And with my very last effort before I have my operation next week for tongue cancer, this is what I wanted to express. And I want the press to listen to this, the ombudsman, and it goes on YouTube as far as I'm concerned, so that other people who have similar problems, that we can fight together. Because it's not okay if municipalities don't have what it takes, that other people's lives can go down the drain that way. Then we need to find alternatives. So be it.